The internet is full of lots of people showing different methods and things that they do. The entire internet, all of YouTube is just packed with videos. I started this channel so I could just give people the compact version of all the hours of research that I did on YouTube to find the information that was relevant to me, and at the same time just show how it was working out for me, if it was working out for me. So here behind me you see yesterday's paddock, today's paddock, and right there are the chickens. The cows have been mowing here for 24 hours. Now they are up there. Gonna mow this down for 24 hours. Each cow in that period drops about 10 cow pies, which will be a habitat for insects that the chickens will eat, so free chicken feed. At the same time, the chickens will sterilize the pasture together with the sun's UV lighting, and the cows are turning this brush and this grass into meat or milk. At the same time, the chickens are turning the cow pies and the feed, the grass, the herbs into eggs and meat, and they're fertilizing the pasture. So it's just a beautiful system that's scalable. That's the awesome part of it. Sometimes I just really would love to run a farm with 100 cattle and be able to supply a consistent supply of beef to customers as well. And that would also open the door for more chickens and free chicken feed. Right now I'm looking into an easy system where I can just move the chickens behind the cows by hand, and I'm looking at Justin Rhodes' Chickchaw. We'll see how that will turn out. I just want to show you in this video today how the system works and how you need to do it so it flows, and don't, you know, stop watching this video if you don't have many cows. You see, I just have 6 animals walk here right now. I had 4 most part of the summer, really, if you count the calf, 4.5. But this is scalable. People do this with over 1,000 cattle, and I do this with just a couple cattle. I just want to show you the positive impact and the reasons why this is so good. These cow pies here are 48 hours. These cow pies here are 72 hours, and tomorrow the chickens will be moved on here after 4 days. It's the highest amount of insect life in there that you want the chickens to eat. Before then and after then are earthworms and some other insects that are beneficial, so you don't necessarily want your chicken to eat them. I'm very satisfied with the mowing job the cows have done here. See, this is quite mossy here, but this is what the chickens will take care for me now. Keeps them busy, helps them to find feed, helps them to stay in shape. I get eggs, no tractor needed. So they're gonna take care of all of this for me while the cows are eating down the rest here. There is no one size for this. You see what I've fenced in now for the cows here. It is different every day. Depends on how much grass is on there. Depends on how many cows you have, and how much grass is on there can really depend on what time of year it is. It can depend on if you're close to the forest, like back there. Here you have these hazelnut bushes, so there's not much there. I'll show you what I fenced in for tomorrow. The camera is standing right by the corner post. It goes down towards the cows, and then up here it's a bigger area this time. Here you have quite tall grass, but it's just tall, it's old. Cows will trample down a lot of this. And then underneath those bushes you have very little. We can actually go there, and then you can see, let me hold it right here. You see how short the grass is here, so cows will not find much feed here, and that's why I've made this whole area much bigger. So you really have to look every day how much it is, and then of course as time goes by you will improve your pastures with the poultry and this controlled grazing, and you will get much more on the spot. But Joel Salatin says he doubled his pastures production the first year, and you know, don't get confused with that twice as much grass grew on there. I think a lot more grass grew on there, but doubled it means also that he could have his cows on there twice as long. He talks about cow days per acre. So from 80 he went to 160 the first year they did this. It's not having 10 paddocks and moving the cattle around from each paddock to each paddock. It is moving them each day to what is right. And that opens up the door for healthier animals, bigger production, and more efficient use, more carbon that's going to be sequestered, free feed for the chickens, and so on. Just read an article yesterday that really the paddock design for the chickens is the best, which would be the layers going behind the cattle, being moved constantly to never overgraze and always have this access to fresh grass and the insects. It's the middle of September now, and we have a lot of grass left on our pastures. In about a month from now, vegetation will stop growing here where we are. There won't be any more growth. The leaves will be off the trees, the grass won't grow anymore. That can be earlier and maybe a little tiny bit later, but October 15th is about when we say finito. So we have the cattle on here. We have still lots of grass left, and in a second I'm going to show you where they have already grazed once before this year. Just show you how fresh the grass is there. So even if we had twice the amount of cattle, our pastures would have done better this year, because this here where they're going right now was not grazed soon enough. You see how it has gotten old. This would be much nicer, fresher green grass had we had more cows. And there's a whole part of our property that we haven't grazed at all this year. So we could have easily had twice the amount of cattle on here and done just fine, and still had ways to go. So if we don't get snow early this year, that's like very thick and lasts and weighs down the grass and makes it mold and everything, then I think that we will be able to graze well into November here on the farm. As a farmer, my heart just rejoices at the sight of fresh green grass like this. And here you see where the cows were. The fence went right here, and very soon when the cows return, they're gonna come on this grass. And even though it's not growing much more now, it's fairly cold here already, this will stay this nice and fresh for a long time. And when the cows come, they will be moved step by step up this hill and will be eating this, and they will love it. You just see how they mowed it down here to here, the difference. It's just a beautiful job. Now this field right here, we have mop grazed once before this year. Then we had the chicken tractors with our young pullets and roosters on here before, so that was the second kind. Now we're going to mop graze it again. Then we are going to have the layers go over here after the cows, and we could technically run the turkeys over here as well. So you see how many different grazings or uses we have of this land, which just increases the value and increases the quality as well. One part that was a bit overwhelming for me is just the size of property that we have and the amount of animals, which is not enough for the size of property that we have. You would think that's a positive problem, but I actually think it's a quite difficult problem if you don't have the means to invest into proper equipment and proper amount of animals to sustain the land that you have. So if you want to do this the right and nice way, I had to learn a lot of things here. I'm still learning a lot of things, but you know, if you start on a small basis, it's just amazing because you can give more attention and more focus on your land, and just think of incredible solutions how to improve your land. I'm just really blessed by seeing all this lush green grass here. I don't see that anywhere. Farmers, because of the drought this year, we've gotten some more rain lately. The ground levels are still low, but vegetation has gotten a little more. But all the fields are, you know, way down. People are feeding them already, but I still have all this grass, and I will do a whole nother run around the whole farm throughout the neighbor's land and then back here. If the weather holds up, you know, we could probably go even into December. We'll see about that. But good for the animals, good for the land, good for me. Less hay and you know, less cost for me. I hope that people get inspired to start their homestead by themselves and to apply these farming methods on their farms. And I hope that people who live in the city and who watch this channel, that they will get inspired to purchase their food, or at least attempt to purchase their food and support farmers who use farming methods that are good for nature, good for the animals, and good for the people. And that is just a really wonderful thing, and I hope that this channel has really helped people already to get closer to that vision, and will continue to do so.